Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Trans 101 series. Today we are talking about sexuality. And sexuality is in sexual orientation and sexual preferences and all of that fun stuff. So this video can get a little bit interesting. Alright, so I even got the pink shirt out to talk about this because I want to talk about sexuality and how a trans person's sexuality is. Because some people think that being trans has something to do with sexuality, where it is associated with deviance and with men dressing up as women in order to be women and be with men. And all of these weird stereotypes and myths that have happened in society. I'm here to talk about my own personal experience and the experiences of people that I've had around me so that you can understand a little bit how sexuality works when somebody transitions. So when somebody transitions, and I'm going to use me as an example, alright? I was assigned female at birth and I transitioned to male. When I identified as a woman and I was a girl, I was a lesbian and I loved other women. And that's who I was. That's what I thought was up with me, honestly. And then I started to transition. I started to realize, oh my god, I'm a boy, let me transition. I was still attracted to lesbians because that's who I had loved for all of those years. So as I transitioned, I was now seen as male dating women. So a man dating a woman is seen as straight in society. So I was technically straight dating women. The issue for me was that I was still dating lesbian women. I am a man, I am a trans man, I look like this. Women who are lesbians typically don't want to be dating this, and I understand this. So, this is very hard for me to understand, and it's hard for some people to understand. But I want you to understand, can I say that word even more? I identified as a lesbian before. When I transitioned, I still like women, so now I'm now seen as a straight man. Okay? I'm making it so basic for you. Now, you can also be a woman who is interested in men, and you are a straight woman. And when you transition to male, you are now seen as a gay male because you are still attracted to men. Transitioning does not change your sexual orientation and your sexual preferences. It just changes the label that is associated with your sexual preference and your orientation. Now, there's obviously some things that complicate this, okay? And I know I'm saying transitioning does not change your sexual orientation. I will say that I do not identify as a straight man. I identify as queer. And the reason why is because all of those years of me identifying as a lesbian was me repressing so many feelings that I had inside because I thought I was only allowed to like women. And I don't know where I got that from, but that's how it was. Once I started to transition, I got so much more comfortable with my body. I got so much more comfortable with my sexuality and who I am inside that I was able to finally open myself up and admit that yes, I am also attracted to men, and I'm also attracted to people who are non-binary, and I'm attracted to really anybody on the spectrum. Everywhere. So, transitioning did not change my sexual orientation, but it did change the way that I saw myself because I was way more comfortable with myself and my body and the way that I saw other people, and I was able to open myself up more. Now, this happens to a lot of people, but keep in mind, I'm one person. I don't represent the entire trans community. There are a lot of people who liked women before and like women now, and they are straight men and they are getting married to straight women, and that's their life, and that is great. And yes, I know it might be shocking, but straight women will date trans guys, and gay men who are not trans will date trans men. Shocking, I know, but it's not always about genitals, and that's something that is a very big issue that has been such a hot topic on my channel. And sexual preference and genital preference doesn't matter for a lot of people. As long as you connect with the person emotionally, it doesn't matter what they have in their pants. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. I'm not talking about this in this video, honestly. If you want like 19 videos about this, I'll put the links in the description below. But really, what we're talking about now is just sexuality in general. So, sexuality as a trans person. Can trans people even have sex? Are trans people dateable? Why do I even have to answer these questions? Yes, okay, trans people can have sex. Now, if you're gonna ask me how do trans people have sex, I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm one trans person. I can tell you how I have sex, but I can't tell you how trans people have sex. Yes, I'm trans, so yes, technically I'm telling you, but no. Trans people are also dateable. Trans people are allowed to be sexually fluid and date who they're attracted to. And there is like this misconception that you're just a pervert if you want to transition because you want to be close to women or you want to just be with men. And who made these connections? They don't make any sense, because this is very corny, okay? But sexual orientation is who you want to go to bed with. Gender is who you want to go to bed as, or gender identity. I know that's super corny and that's the most 101 definition that I can give you, but that is what it is. Gender and sexuality are not the same thing. And a lot of people think that they are, and it's completely separate. And like I explained in the beginning, somebody who was attracted to men before and who identified or physically looked female and was assigned female at birth will probably still like men when they transition, and they will now be seen as a gay man and date gay men, and gay men who are not trans will date trans men, even if they don't have a penis. I know that's so hard for you to understand, but it does happen, and it has happened, and it's a thing. Once you realize that genitals are like the most important part in the entire world, and like you realize that, oh my god, everything is fixated on genitals. Like, you don't want to talk about genitals yet, that's all we talk about. We put everybody in these two boxes based on the genitals that they have. But separate that for 1 second and realize that gender and sexuality are different. Now, a lot of people think that trans men are more masculine presenting and want to date women and can't be feminine because you want to be a man, you're gonna be a man. Look at me, okay? I feel like I'm a prime example of somebody who is like, I'm a very, very feminine presenting trans mask individual, okay? And I say this because I love pink and I love colors. I like to paint my nails and I like musicals, I like cats, I have cat tattoos. All of these things that society deems as feminine, I love and I embrace so much. Now, that doesn't make me less trans. And does that have to do anything with my sexuality? No. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Because I can be this flamboyant and only date women. And then I'm seen as straight and I only date women and that's how I identify, and that's completely fine. Because what I'm doing is expressing my gender. Gender expression is not the same thing as sexuality, and is not the same thing as gender identity. I know we're getting into a lot of terms here. If you have not seen episode 2 where I talk about terms to use and what they mean, please take a look at that because it'll maybe explain this video a little better. To conclude this video, trans people can be gay, trans people can be straight, trans people can be bisexual, some can be pansexual, some can be queer, some can be asexual. There is a spectrum, and people who are trans don't have to fit in a box. Some like to fit in a box, and that's completely fine. Others are more fluid and more squiggly line, which is how I love to identify myself, because I just feel like this is me, and I'm all over the place. I am extremely feminine, but I'm masculine presenting, and I am queer, and I would date women, I would date men. It doesn't matter to me. I just see my life as something that is fluid and something that is a squiggle. And that's me personally. And there are other trans people who are strict, very like, I liked women before, I will like women now. And I will like women. That makes it sound like it's a preference. It's not. Like, that's just, I was attracted to women before, I am attracted to women now, is basically what I'm trying to say. Anyways, please let me know what you think. This topic is very hard to talk about and explain because there's so many different aspects that we can talk about. We can talk about more in the comments. Please let me know what you think and we will discuss. And if you have any questions, I'll put as many links in the description as I possibly can. And I will see you for another episode. Have a great day. Bye.